Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all well today. We're all quite sick of the slop and the low standard of film and reboot and remake and sequel coming out of Hollywood these days. And I'm absolutely glad to announce that finally, so are Hollywood as well. You can see here the studio, Disney in particular, seeking original IPs to win back Gen Z men amid Marvel and Lucasfilm struggles. Now, of course, the obvious opening point to make, of course, is that I swear to God that Marvel and Star Wars used to be primarily and unashamedly catering towards men. Of course, you had, from characters like Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, Han Solo, and, to Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, all of these characters, right? These were the sorts of films that you would watch, and not only was it the films themselves that would just excite the adventurous nature of a young kid, but also there was an entire toy line, right? There was an entire merchandise behind it as well, something that George Lucas was very prescient about when it came to releasing A New Hope originally back in '77, that he also had a stake in the merchandising rights as well, which of course made him ridiculous amounts of money. But that's the point, you don't just go and see the film, you get the action figures to play with, or you have Captain America on your lunchbox as well. Well, Captain America and Iron Man are dead, and as for Star Wars, the entire franchise just seems to be have nowhere really to go. You've got the Mandalorian and Grogu film coming out next year, but really, I mean, I remember watching The Mandalorian at the time, but the whole Grogu thing just feels like, yeah, it definitely did tap into something of that marketability that even people who weren't natural Star Wars fans all knew who Baby Yoda was and thought he was really cute. But that was years ago now. It was absolutely years ago. And so that opportunity to strike that market, I feel like is going to be a little bit tired at this point. But of course, the wider issue is just that we are in dire need of some original stories again. But of course, part of the reason for the sequels and the reboots is because there's obviously a lack of trust in Hollywood in their own writers, right? To create original stories, to trust that these things can become big and can captivate the public. But of course, real vision and real storytelling and relies on risk, right? So many of the greatest stories that we know in film were risks that were taken because the writer felt so passionately that he wanted to get it down, and the studio, of course, was willing to give him a much smaller budget than they get today, and invariably they would make something of it. But the other thing as well is just to mention the fact that Disney as a company now is, of course, also has a dwindling reputation. The problem is that obviously I was born in '96, the very, very end of it, so I wasn't really around for the whole Disney Renaissance era of the '90s, not in any memorable way. But those films were regarded as something of a second golden age. Tarzan, Little Mermaid, Hunchback of Notre Dame, all those sorts of films. And the thing is that that golden age belonged to a different generation, right? And the children who have grown up today, Zoomers, don't really have that, right? What good films have come out in their lifetime for them to revere Disney as like the greatest Hollywood studio, right? The greatest visionaries and artists of the age. I'm just saying we're a long way from Fantasia. But so you have that problem as well, that like the inbuilt sort of generational audience of Disney fans has also been broken, and they're striving to figure out how to fix it. And I don't know whether they really will. Let's mention here about Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, okay, you can bring back Johnny Depp again. I mean, after the way you treat him, I don't know why you would, other than money, which I don't think he needs, but okay, we'll get Johnny Depp back and he can do his funny Jack Sparrow walk again. Indiana Jones dead, but Indiana Jones as a franchise was young children, right? Again, it was something for people of previous generations. Young kids are not going to be enthralled watching an 80-year-old Harrison Ford crack his whip. It's just not going to happen. And so this leaves them with the conundrum of where can they go? Well, there seems to be slowly a revival of interest in creating video game movies like Sonic the Hedgehog and Minecraft. And a lot of the kids are gaming these days, so I hear. So so they're in a position, well, that seems like a less risky project that will definitely bring in the big money. But again, you fall into the same trap. Once you've made a film about a game, you've done it. And then what are you going to do? Just bring out the sequels again? They need original material. And I mean, for my own part, I hope that they do come up with something. I don't have a lot of faith that they are going to come up with something that is going to capture entire generations of fans again, especially seeing as the monopoly that Hollywood used to have, and just cinema used to have, over the mainstream culture, is being broken all the time by various rivals and streaming platforms and video games and just other things in the market now. There's a greater plurality of things in the market that people have interest in. They don't need to be drawn to the cinema all the time. And what's more, gone are the days where you were simply you had to go and watch a film because you were waiting 4 months for a film to come out on DVD. Nowadays, it just gets put on a streaming platform 2 months later. So why not just save £15 for a cinema ticket and go and just wait until it's on the streaming platform with all of the other things that you can get for £10 a month? So the entire business model seems destined to create a system of diminishing returns for Hollywood. If people are drawn to more independent projects and artistic endeavors, then again, Hollywood will, seeing as they've set the trend of just being the ones that copy the homework these days, they will just do that, and they will just have to lead from the back with a lot of things going forward. But hopefully that should bring forth again, some more creative visionaries, because that's the thing, the stagnation, the genuine cultural stagnation in cinema cannot last forever. It cannot last forever. And I can only hope that their recognition, if I scroll down to this last paragraph here, but as they point out in this little passage here, one top film executive at a Disney rival says that every studio should be looking for originals, as sequels and reboots continue to exhaust the culture, even if they're packing in moviegoers in the short term. So I'm glad that there's finally been some identification of the problem, because nothing makes me despair more than seeing some live-action Disney reboot break past $1 billion. It just kills me. It absolutely kills me. So let's not have that anymore. Let's try something different and see where it goes.